Hi, I will not yap around too long, just wanted to say thank you very much for watching and I'm very glad that you guys like this project. Okay, let us begin with the beast brief. I enjoy making carnivorous and predator creatures in general, but I decided to create a herbivorous creature first. The snowy highlands are cold most of the time, so making a creature massive, giving it fur was the best choice, and I wanted to be a simple design. Also, I wanted to be maybe a beast of burden, a classic concept art practice that I wanted to combine with this creature. So I also needed a look that was like a peaceful giant. And my final thought was to make a cow, because I never made one. But I didn't want it to be a straight up cow, so I started to say on my streams, I want to make a beast that doesn't look like a cow, but feels like a cow, if you know what I mean. I started with some cow sketches using references from ox, bulls and Belgian blue, the big muscly cows. So mostly very heavy and powerful animals in general. I made the front arms a little bit bigger, but I went back for like a more typical cow look. I was also trying out different heads and horn shapes and even tusks. And I even tried to mix in some fish elements into the jaw, so it could extend its jaw to reach grass and roots in difficult areas. But that went in a very wrong direction. I didn't want it to make a scary creature that people will maybe use as an animal of burden. I continued making more head studies from cows, and then I went right back into sketching more body concepts and horns. Two weeks later I picked up the designs again. After revisiting the sketches I used the first concepts because I liked them the most and made some quick renders. And I used some photos of bisons to texture the animal to have a very quick and clean look. And also I was heavily using the liquify tool to change the shapes of the monster so it has more variation, so I can look what I like the most. I really liked the bear-like features and the front-loaded feel, but I was not quite happy with it. Also the horns were still off. So I tried again by using a photo of a cow, liquefying it and overpainting it. These turned out great, very quick designs but also a bit boring. Maybe I will use the designs to make a new creature for a different area. I went back to sketching and focused on the parts that I really liked. Like the hulking front-loaded physique and the big lower arms and legs. But I also did some very wild concepts to try out something new, but they didn't work out that well. This was the concept I really enjoyed, a very heavy and bulky weighty appearance with a kind and more peaceful look. I played around with horns again, and I also changed the body slightly and added some different claws and tails. I still wasn't happy with the horns, so I did 16 more. I really enjoyed how the simple long straight horns looked with the flattened part on the bottom. But I sketched 5 more to see if some of them would be better. At the end I decided to go with the 11th concept of the horns and the last body concept. The final design turned out great, if I can say so myself. It feels like a cow but doesn't look like a cow, and it has a very peaceful giant appearance. I did also some experiments how the wooden tools could look like to control the mud huts. This was a completely new territory for me, but it was fun to make some of these. I enjoyed the bottom left one the most. It kinda mimics the flow of the horns of the mud huts, and the beast has enough room to look around. So, here are some armor sketches I made. I was really struggling with that, because I wanted to have the typical Monster Hunter feel from the 1st to 3rd gen. Like the big bulky armors that looked less cool in anime and more practical and even kinda ugly. Using the horns from the beast on the helmet was a no-brainer. It instantly looked like the armor was made from the mud huts, but I needed more elements than just the horns. So I made bulky lower arm guards and an overall more fatty and bulkier shape for the armor. I was doing these weird rounded shapes. I don't know why, to be honest, but then I remembered that the horns had those rings around it. So I used these elements to make the armor look even more like the Mludhuz itself. I made some small adjustments on the final sketch and rendered out the armor at the end completely, which turned out great. It has still the rusty feeling of the Mludhuz and feels very bulky. So yeah, that's the armor, so let's continue with the weapons. Here we have the Great Rapier concepts, where number 4 was the clear winner. For the greatsword I tried out some random blade designs. The first one with the flat tip was by far my favorite. It resembled the Mludhuz at the end the most. For the heavy mace I wanted to keep the design very simple and blunt, so number 2 was the winner. And the cleaving saw was a bit tricky, but I combined all the 4 concepts into one. In the end it's just an oversized horn of the Mludhuz. It's quite simple, but it works. So yeah, these were all the sketches and concepts I did for the Mludhuz. So I'm quite happy how the final design turned out, and it has a very good monster hunter feeling. The Mludhuz attacks are simple in design, the use of its horns to gore players, the heavy and big size to tackle, and the use of its thumb spikes to impale. So the damage types the Mludhuz would do are bludgeoning and piercing. Most of the attacks can be comboed into others, but some are final, like the rock throw or the body check. Now we know what the Mludhuz can do against the hunter, but what can the hunter do against that beast? These are all the breakable parts of the Mludhuz. The claws can be broken to reduce damage. The same goes for the horns, with an added bonus of a heavy blood loss. The less protected ribcage can be damaged to prevent stronger roars from the beast. Injuring the back can disable most of the Mludhuz attacks, making it incapable to rear up on the hind legs. And the tail can be cut off, but with no additional bonuses. Let us see what damage types are good against the Mludhuz. Starting with bludgeoning damage, most body parts are resistant against blunt due to the beast's adaptation in the snowy highlands and the random boulders that roll down the hills. But the beast doesn't use the head to ram other rivals. They mostly wrestle each other and keep their horns away from breaking. So blunt attacks are great if you hit the head multiple times. Also, the horns and claws can be easily broken with blunt force. You can open up your bestiary to know more about the Goliath Redhorn and its ecology. Piercing damage is mostly useless against the Mludhuz, but the bulls only wrestle and face each other. So the front is armored against piercing attacks, but it is not protected from its back. Landing hits from behind to inflict deep injuries to the Mludhuz's lower back, disabling the beast to stand up and perform certain attacks. The Mludhuz is quite weak to ripping damage. So the part that were mostly resistant against blunt and piercing attacks fall flat when it comes to be ripped into pieces. If you face a Mludhuz for the first time, keep a cleaving saw always close to you. And at last, the slashing damage, which is also very potent against the Goliath Redhorn. Focusing on the upper body and legs will be the most efficient way to take down a raging Mludhuz. So, that would be it for the Mludhuz so far. Nothing new has been documented yet, but we keep our eyes open and inform you if there will be new sightings. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this project and want to see more, or just support me in general, head over to my Ko-fi page where you get access to the private Discord server, high-res images, early access, and for some critique on your works. Or just show the video to your ecology-hungry friends. I want to thank my supporters. In the Titan tier we have Urged, and in the Hunter tier we have Pistler Wizard. Thank you very much, guys. And also again, thanks to Pexels, Pixabay and Upsplash for sound, video and images. And also thank you to Vindsvept for the lovely music. The next creature on our list will be not a giant like the Mludhuz, but more of a ruthless thief that is terrorizing beast and man alike. That creature was voted on the Discord server, so if you want to have a say in the next creature, head over to my coffee page, please. So, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.